Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video. And in this video, I want to talk to you about how to deal with gaslighting if you have a core wound of feeling unseen and unheard. So this question comes from one of our members inside PDS. And I thought this is a really valuable question to discuss from sort of like multiple angles and for multiple reasons. Now, when it comes to gaslighting, I would say this is a massive red flag because usually when somebody is like willing to gaslight, they're willing to really like make you have your own self-esteem impacted. They're willing to make you really have to question yourself, and they're willing to avoid accountability to such a staggering degree that they're not willing to like work through something, take responsibility for their side of things, which really stops a relationship from progressing. So let me be honest here. I've seen really good people in really painful situations and really challenging moments, when they don't have good emotional literacy skills, when they have all these different dynamics coming about, resort to gaslighting. But usually what you'll see is that this is followed by like either later accountability, either like feeling horribly about it later and then making an effort to like never have to do that again, or like not going down a path where this is like their operating state and this is a pattern. And I think like it's okay, we're human beings. And if a human being makes a human judgment error, I mean, we all make mistakes. We've all been there in some sort of form or another. And I think if there's like a one-off, then okay, you know what? Maybe we can give some space to work through the situation, to ask a person to take accountability and to be able to proceed. But as a general rule, if you're seeing a pattern of gaslighting, in my opinion, that's a really good time to walk away from a relationship. And there's multiple reasons for this. It doesn't make the gaslighting person perhaps a bad person. It could be a good person going through a really bad time. But there's a difference between having compassion and understanding for someone else's pain and suffering versus using that compassion to then violate oneself. And we have to walk this really careful line when we see unhealthy patterns in relationships. And I think sometimes people can get confused, right? And because they go, oh, well, if you have compassion, it means it's okay that the person's doing that. Absolutely not. We can have really strong compassion and empathy and understanding, and also know that we have to hold an extremely strong boundary and not allow this person back into our lives over and over again if they are causing harm to some form or to some degree. So this is the first really important point I wanted to make here, is like a pattern of gaslighting really means a pattern of lack of accountability, just at its baseline. And that means that you're not going to get the needle moving in a relationship if the other person can't take accountability for that part. And one of the things I've said on this channel a few times is that, you know, one of the things I would look for in my private practice is like, I didn't care what attachment styles people were, how much trauma they had. That wasn't going to determine success. It was, are both parties here fully motivated to do the work? And if so, beautiful, miraculous things could take place. But if one party was there, ready and available and willing, the other party was dragging their feet and not interested, then that creates a whole bunch of different problems. So one of the first most important things when we just look at gaslighting, it means lack of accountability, because I'm so unwilling to take lack of accountability. I'm going to try to make you question your reality and your situation as a means to avoid to such a strong degree. The second part of it is that there can be some trauma through that degree of manipulation that takes place, right? Like going through a manipulative event creates trauma. And so, you know, it's very valuable to take a look at that as well. Like, you know, how are you being affected by a person who's doing this? Are you looking at your own feelings, your own needs, your own wounds and pain points, and holding them into the light and seeing, hey, is this appropriate for me or not to be participating in this relationship? Or is this doing more harm than good? And so we have to be accountable for not just like having compassion for somebody else and seeing them, but being able to see and hear and understand our own feelings and needs as well. So when it comes to actually dealing with this pattern in relationships, I highly recommend like going into your core wounds, and first like doing some reprogramming work on the core wounds that are there, and second, then setting a boundary and saying, look, I'm clear about what happened. I'm clear about my perspective. You may have a different perspective of an opinion, and I can respect that, but I'm clear about mine. And I would ask that you don't question my perspective again. And I want you to really try to see and hear and understand where I'm coming from as a person with my programming, with my wounds, with my individual needs. And if you're unable to do that, we can't really communicate and cross this bridge again around this conversation. And that has to be a hard boundary first in conversation. But then if there's a pattern, you may want to extend that original boundary sort of script there out into, we can't go further in this relationship because if I can't have a partner who's willing to take accountability with me, to work through things, to see each other's perspectives, to look out for each other's needs and pay attention and try to understand one another at a deeper level, it's going to be really hard to progress in this relationship, unfortunately. So it may be an important conversation to have and thing to consider. And again, it just sort of goes back to this theme where we don't want to violate our own boundaries in the name of compassion, right? Because that's not how it works. And compassion is not meant to be a mutually exclusive situation where having compassion for someone else means taking away from compassion, empathy, and understanding for our own feelings, own wounds, and own perspective. So I hope this makes a lot of sense. If you want to do a deeper dive, I highly recommend doing a boundaries course, and even a communication scripts course. We have both those that you can check out for free for 7 days inside PDS by clicking the link in the description box below. If you search boundaries or communication scripts, there's like really in-depth scripts for a whole bunch of different situations that can be applied. And then of course, our boundaries course helps you reprogram your fears that are preventing you from not setting boundaries so you can feel strong and capable to set boundaries in your life as needed, which is a very, very empowering thing, not just for your relationships to others, but especially for the relationship to yourself. So I hope this all makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.